My name's Ron Hopper, and I'm the Assistant Special Agent in charge of the FBI here in Orlando, also in charge of the Joint Terrorism Task Force, which is conducting this current investigation. This investigation is 1 week and 1 day old, and it may last months and even years. But I want you to know that we will endeavor to bring justice to the victims who survived, as well as the family of the deceased who were so viciously murdered. As many of us celebrated Father's Day this past weekend, several were reminded of their lost one and the tragic events that happened on June 12th. Before I provide an update in the investigation, I'd like to acknowledge my partners that are here with me today. I'd like to recognize Chief John Mina with the Orlando Police Department, who will provide remarks following my comments. Orange County Sheriff Jerry Demings, Florida Department of Law Enforcement SAC Danny Banks, DEA Assistant Special Agent in Charge Jeff Walsh, ATF Trevor Velnor, Mayor of Orlando Buddy Dyer, Mayor of Orange County Teresa Jacobs, and additional partners including the Florida Highway Patrol, Orange County Fire Department, Orlando Fire Department, and many other partners who assisted us in this difficult investigation. The Joint Terrorism Task Force has released excerpts and portions of the timeline of events that happened inside the club of the Pulse on June 12th. You've been provided with a general timeline of the Orlando Police Department's radio communications, as well as a 50-second conversation between the killer and the Orlando Police dispatcher. While we're not releasing the audio, what I can tell you is that while the killer made these murderous statements, he did so in a chilling, calm, and deliberate manner. Finally, a summary of the communications between the crisis negotiator and the shooter have been provided to you, and the chief will take your comments and questions after my formal remarks. While we will not be providing the 911 calls made by the victims, we're doing this out of ultimate respect. Yes, the audio is compelling, but to expose that now would be excruciatingly painful to exploit them in this way. This is an active investigation. It remains an active investigation, and while we understand your interest, we appreciate your patience as we find the facts methodically and carefully. As you will see from the transcripts that we provided just a few moments ago, the killer of 49 and the shooter of 53 others identified himself as an Islamic soldier who pledged allegiance to a terrorist organization which was bent on killing Americans. He does not represent the religion of Islam, but a perverted view which, based on what we know today, was inspired by extremist killers. We currently have no evidence that he was directed by a foreign terrorist group, but was radicalized domestically. As you can see from the information we provided just a few moments ago, the killer stated that he had an explosive device, but none was found. I also want to point out the heroic actions of not only the first responders, but the victims who were inside the club that morning. They were under the most inconceivable stress, and they bravely assisted law enforcement in bringing it to a resolution. There's no doubt that their actions saved lives. Our investigation into the motives behind the killer and anyone who may have conspired with him or supported him continues. Please also keep in mind that the investigation of the shooting exchange between police and the killer is ongoing. I would point out that some have mistakenly rushed to judgment regarding the actions of these brave men and women. What they did that evening and those early morning hours was nothing less than extraordinary. To give you an idea of the scope of the investigation to date, I want to provide you with a few facts. The Joint Terrorism Task Force has conducted over 500 interviews as we sit here today. 117 vehicles were released to owners and registrants of family members of the victims who were at the Pulse nightclub, and we have approximately 10 left to return. More than 600 pieces of evidence were obtained and processed from the crime scene. We've received thousands of tips based on our appeal to the public, and we ask that you continue to call us at 1-800-CALL-FBI or visit FBI.gov. In closing, I want to advise that we're nearing the conclusion of our processing of the crime scene here outside the Pulse nightclub, and that we hope to restore the area and the outside perimeter to the community within the early part of this week. I want to point out special and extraordinary devotion to the effort here by the Christ Church of Orlando, the Salvation Army, and countless businesses in the Orlando area that have supported law enforcement and our efforts tremendously as their way of paying respect to the victims of this horrendous act. I'd also like to recognize the tremendous efforts of the FBI's evidence response team, who spent the last week processing the most devastating crime scene under circumstances that were very difficult. It's a life-changing experience for all of us, and they've done their duty quietly and among the most noble law enforcement professionals. As I mentioned earlier, this area is expected to be restored to relative normal business early this week, and we do not expect to hold any further press conferences from this location. Thank you. I'd now like to turn it over to Chief John Mina.